We killed God, and God still loves us. This is a commentary on Luke 24 by Bishop Barron. Luke tells us that upon seeing the resurrected Jesus, his disciples were startled and terrified. It is worthwhile dwelling on this fear. On the one hand, it is a terror born on the confrontation with the strange and unknown, that which does not fit into customary categories. But on the other hand, it is a fear derived from guilt, in accord with the plot of most ghost stories. They are terrified because the one they abandoned and betrayed and left for dead is back, undoubtedly for revenge. As in almost all the other accounts of the post-resurrection appearances, Luke's risen Jesus does two things in the presence of his shocked followers. First, he says shalom, or peace be with you. This peace, this shalom, is the universal well-being that had been longed for throughout the Old Testament. That had indeed been sought ever since Eden. It is the serenity that comes from participating in the very life of God. Next, he shows them his wounds. This move is a reiteration of the judgment of the cross. Don't forget, he tells them, what the world did when the author of life appeared. A woundless Christ is embraced much more readily by his executioners, since he doesn't remind them of their crime. But the Jesus who stubbornly shows them his wounds will not permit this exculpating forgetfulness. In this, he opens up a new spiritual world and thereby becomes our savior. From ancient creation myths to the Rambo and Dirty Harry movies, the principle is the same. Order destroyed through violence is restored through a righteous great exercise of greater violence. I'll read that again, so they stumbled over it. Order destroyed through violence is restored through a righteous exercise of greater violence. Some agent of chaos is corralled and conquered by fighting him or it on his own terms and overpowering him. If domination is the problem, as in the ancient stories, then a counter-domination is the solution. If gun violence is the problem, as in most cop movies, then a bigger and more skillfully handled gun is the solution. And in these myths, God or the gods are customarily invoked as the sanction of the process. And then there's Jesus. The terrible disorder of the cross, the killing of the Son of God, is addressed not through an explosion of divine vengeance, but through a radiation of divine love. When Christ confronts those who contributed to his death, he speaks words not of retribution, but of reconciliation and of compassion. Mind you, the awful texture of the disorder is not for a moment overlooked. That is the integrity of the judgment. But the problem is resolved through nonviolence and forgiveness. We can begin to sense here the source of the ecstatic religious experience of the first believers. We killed God, and God still loves us. We have tried, as thoroughly as possible, to distance ourselves from God, and he returns. We perform the most heinous unthinkable act, and we are still offered peace. What appeared rhetorically in the Sermon on the Mount, and more concretely on the cross, now shines in all of its transfigured glory. The gods who sanctioned scapegoating and the restoration of order through violence are now revealed to be phony gods, idols, projections of a sinful conscience. And the true God comes fully into the light. It is in this way that Jesus takes away the sin of the world. John 1:29. The old schemas of handling disorder through vengeance restored a tentative and very unreliable peace, which was really nothing but a pause between conflicts. Evil met with evil only intensifies. Just as fire met with fire only increases the heat, and an eye for an eye, as Gandhi noted, succeeds only in eventually making everyone blind. But what takes away violence is a courageous and compassionate nonviolence, just as water, the opposite of fire, puts out the flames. On the cross, the Son of God took on the hatred of all of us sinners, and in his forgiving love, he took that hatred away. By creating a way out of the net of our sinfulness, Jesus did what no mere philosopher, poet, politician, or social reformer could possibly do. He saved us.